All right, well, good evening, everybody. How's it going?
Good.
We'll get the meeting started. Let's see if we could take the roll to get started.
Sure. Tim, yes. Trish,
Yes.
Christine, Lynette,
Here.
Yael,
Yes. Here.
Jan? Is that Jan?
Yeah, is that me?
Do we hear Jan?
Noise.
Tell people to mute.
Yeah,
Thanks,
if
Al.
everybody could maybe mute, except for the LOCAC members, please, for now, so we can.
Jan, are you here?
Did you say Jan? Yes.
Yes, I did. Hi, Jan.
Hi.
Larry?
Present.
Thank you. Sandra?
Yep, here.
Jim, we got you and me. Okay, thank you. So the only one here is not here is Christine, correct?
Yep.
Yep, okay. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Sue. And I don't have any chairperson announcements to make this month, so we'll go to the sheriff's report. Is the sheriff with us this evening?
Yes, I'm here.
He's here.
All right, you have the floor.
Oh, I do?
Yep.
Well, I was going to answer questions. I don't know really how to start. I'm kind of at a loss right now. Why don't you start with somebody else and then I can chime in later.
Sure. Do we have anybody from the Highway Patrol with us this evening? If not, the county staff report. Do we have Carrie with us tonight? Carrie Brown?
Good evening. Yes, I am here.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening. So I have a few things to report.
Okay.
I'm not sure if somebody else is trying to speak right now. I will just proceed.
Okay.
On August 13th, the Planning Commission considered the Los Osos Community Plan and the Growth Management Ordinance.
Hang on, Carrie. Can we mute whoever that is with the barking dog?
If everybody could please mute that's not speaking, that would actually help tremendously. Great. Thanks, Carrie. Go ahead.
Okay. On August 13th, the Planning Commission considered the Los Osos Community Plan and the Growth Management Ordinance and requested additional information on environmentally sensitive habitat areas and also information about specific clarifications to the circulation and public facilities chapters of the community plan. The Planning Commission continued the item to October 8th.
Hey, hang on, Carrie. I'm sorry.
Tim, can you just mute everyone?
The problem when I mute everybody is that then I have to request unmute. So it's just better if everybody could just mute themselves and then.
Okay, I thought we could unmute ourselves, but okay.
All right.
Sorry, Carrie. It's just really difficult to hear you when there's other noise. I'm sorry. It's something we have to work out, I guess.
Yes, I understand. So the Planning Commission continued the item to October 8th. So we'll be going back to the Planning Commission then, specifically about ESHA and some specific clarifications in circulation and public facilities chapters. And I have been receiving some other comments from people that we may also provide an updated memo because the staff reports have already been completed. So that's on the community plan. And we're also working on the habitat conservation plan. We have a tentative board date for December 15th for both the community plan and the habitat conservation plan. So that is that on the community plan. We had the Bean minor use permit, which is the temporary construction storage yard and vehicle storage. That was considered on Friday, September 18th. The project was approved with additional conditions for the time period of 3 years limits on the size of trucks and drainage. We did have some technical issues at the hearing. Some of the pre-recorded messages didn't show up until after the hearing, and it was not done intentionally. The clerk had checked. She didn't see any messages, and so we didn't actually find out that they were missing until after the hearing. And then we tested the system, and there was a problem. IT has fixed that, but there were some pre-recorded messages that were not heard. Since the hearing, which was last Friday, we have already received an appeal. So we haven't scheduled that. The appeal actually came in today. So that is that on the Bean project. We will have more information on the appeal once that gets scheduled. And that's all I have.
Great. Are there any questions for Ms. Carrie Brown? Lynette?
Hi, Carrie. This is a follow-up question on something I had asked you, but I didn't ask you as thoroughly as I should have. We got a notification from someone about a request to operate in Los Osos a cannabis delivery service. And so I, as the web person, forward this and another letter that he sent to the entire LOCAC committee, the chamber, I'll get it, the council. So what is LOCAC and the other CAC supposed to do when they get a notification like this? Do they just share it amongst themselves, or what are we supposed to do?
Sorry, I was muted. This is a requirement of the cannabis ordinance. Let me see if I can pull up that section real quick. Prior to application submittal, the applicant shall submit evidence that the neighboring property owners and the applicable advisory group were notified of the request prior to submission of the land use permit to the county. So basically, it's a notice. You can do with it as you wish. You will be referred by the planning department once the application has been submitted to the county. So you could review it early, or you could wait until you get an official referral, but that is basically part of the cannabis application process.
Great, thank you. We just didn't know what to do with it, so I guess we'll wait for our referral.
Okay.
Are there any other questions for Ms. Brown? All right, so if we can move on to the supervisor's report. Mr. Supervisor Gibson, good evening.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. A pleasure to be with you after a couple of months off. I have one item that's really LOCAC specific, Los Osos specific, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I thought I'd start with more general issues. COVID, of course, excuse me, continues to absorb a tremendous amount of the county's attention and time and resources. You may have seen press reports that we have gotten the case rates down to a point where we have graduated from the most restrictive tier, tier 1, which is color-coded purple, to the next less restrictive tier, tier 2, which is color-coded red on the state on the state maps, and thus that's going to allow a variety of businesses to open, and it's going to ease some restrictions. Our public health officer, Dr. Penny Bornstein, reminds us that vigilance in attending to all the public health behaviors that we've heard a million times before is going to be key to keeping the case rates low. And unfortunately, in the last few days, we've seen the case rates creeping up. We need to maintain a certain number of cases per 100,000, a certain positivity rate, and a couple of other metrics to stay in this less restrictive tier. there's on the website readyslo.org, there's a lot of information about exactly what that means and what that means for specific businesses. But the overall issue is, can we maintain those lower case rates? And if we can graduate to progressively less restrictive tiers. This is going to be with us for a while. There's a lot of concern, of course, you may have read nationally, about resurgence of this in the fall. There's concern about the combination of COVID and influenza, and our public health folks are encouraging everybody to go out and get a flu shot. That's just basic good common sense. So we're watching the situation. This county has done pretty well. If you look on the map, ours is the one red tier county among all of those that touch our borders. And, we're hopeful that things can be moving forward. Cal Poly has reopened for a certain amount of in-person instruction, and that seems to be going well right now. Again, our public health people are spending a lot of time looking very carefully at that. I'm not surprised that the sheriff is a little bit unready today. It's been another difficult day for the sheriff's department. You may have seen press reports that a deputy was involved in a deputy-involved shooting. One deputy has been injured. Those injuries don't appear to be life-threatening. And a suspect who has not been at this point named is dead in an exchange of gunfire. So our thoughts are with the sheriff's department and all involved in this, and we'll look forward to more details tomorrow. Of course, in Los Osos, the situation of homelessness at the Midtown site has been a topic of considerable discussion. And we have I've asked our public health, public works, and a number of other departments to look into the situation and see what we can do to ease a number of concerns that the public has expressed. Fire threat is high among them, but there are certainly other public health, public safety, and environmental damage, human waste, loose syringes, well understood to be a problem in that area. We have put together.
Let me interrupt you real quick. I'm Javier from St. Elizabeth. I just wanted to let you know we had our first fire out here on Sunday.
Okay, Javier, thank you for letting us know about that. I had not heard that at this point. We'll be reaching out to you, Javier, and others in the area as we continue the plan. Our plan right now is to relocate those camping in the brush next to the library, what we call the Midtown site. That is county property. And because it is county property and subject to some very tight restrictions, we're able to mobilize some funds to work on moving folks to alternative shelter and providing them necessary services. I think you all understand that there are a number of complexities here. The legal complexities that are brought on by the case, the Martin versus the city of Boise, Idaho, means that we simply cannot simply relocate individuals from public property if we don't have alternatives. And so developing those alternatives is the challenge that we face. And providing each individual the services that they need is a matter of mustering a lot of resources from different parts of the county structure, engaging the nonprofits that the county works with on homeless services, and engaging the community, because we're going to need some help from the community and support of the community as we move forward on there. I believe we have Kate Ballantyne, who is a Deputy Director of Public Works, somewhere on here. I'm not sure whether Kate has called in or whether she's joined the, joined with video or not. But she is prepared to give an outline of where we are in the planning to start that relocation of the folks camping. And I'll turn to her in a minute if she is here. You might, Kate, if you might raise your hand, figuratively speaking, so the chair and
I'll
others.
just jump
Oh, there
in
you
and
are.
say that I am here.
Okay, there you are. I see you now. Excellent. Let me just say that beyond those camping, we know that vehicles parked on Palisades in that same area have also increased and are also a concern. What I want the community to know is that the issues of encamped and parked homeless individuals is of concern and a challenge all over the county. And using Los Osos as a prime example, I have been lobbying our county staff and my fellow supervisors to start to devote some resources to this in quantities that we have not in the past.
You've been out here lately. I've seen how
Javier,
bad.
if I could, Javier, if I could, I'm happy to take questions at the end here. But if I could just finish the thought here, we understand that countywide we need to start talking about how we are going to provide proper places for those encamped and proper services for those encamped. And we also need to try to figure out means by which we can run safe parking programs. And again, I want to emphasize that this issue is of concern in every community of the county. And the size of the problem, I think, has gotten to a point now where I think we should be able to mobilize more resources than we have in the past. I know none of this is going to happen as quickly as a lot of people would like it to be, but please know that I am completely committed to working with our staff and each community in my district and countywide to affect a result here that's going to improve things. So with that, Kate, I don't know if you want to give a little rundown on what the team specifically looking at Midtown is proposing here.
Yeah, I can do that. Thank you. You covered a lot of it there, actually. So good evening, everybody. I am Kate Ballantyne. I'm a deputy director with our Public Works Department. And I'm taking the lead in organizing the response to the encampment on the Midtown property. So along with other public works staff and bringing in numerous other county departments. And so I was just going to mention some of the folks that we are engaging with at this point. Certainly the sheriff and the community action team, social services, the Parks Department, the Libraries Department, California Fish and Wildlife, County Council, the Health Department, the Behavioral Health Department, and then additionally working with CAPSLO, community volunteers, and just an assortment of folks. So really, we've been spending the last few weeks gathering this sort of huge group of people together to determine how we can best go about addressing this issue, specifically on the Midtown site. And Public Works is taking the lead on this because the Midtown site is a county-owned property that is managed by Public Works for habitat, and that's through the wastewater projects permits. And so that is Public Works' nexus to this effort. As well, Ann Gillespie, our countywide stormwater coordinator, is in our Public Works Department, and she led our successful blue bag encampment trash cleanup program that we did the end of last year. And so she has a good experience working with this diverse group of stakeholders. So what we've been doing, we've assembled this team, we've had several meetings, and we've been working through the various issues and addressing the encampment. So over the last few weeks, we've been working really on connecting people to services, and that has been done a lot through our sheriff. We've surveyed the site and determined, how much trash is there, how many people are camping there. We have been working on an outreach plan, also a personal property storage plan, which is very important in the post-Boise world. Working on finding a contractor for the cleanup, and then also developing a site restoration and future monitoring plan for Midtown. And so again, our scope at this time is limited to addressing the Midtown encampment. And I just want to stress that this effort is not meant to target specific individuals for any particular behavior, but just to address the issue that this is not a suitable place to live. There are health and sanitation, as well as public safety issues such as fire, as Supervisor Gibson mentioned. And additionally, because it is related to the wastewater project, the property is deed restricted by the Coastal Commission to be habitat, and we have very specific habitat requirements on the site, and certainly camping is contrary to what we need to accomplish at the Midtown site. So our short-term plan, we're working with all of these stakeholders. I hope that we can come to some sort of a resolution in being able to connect people with services and to the best of our ability, additional shelter. And my goal is to accomplish that in the next 5 weeks. So end of October is our goal to be finishing that, but there are many factors at play here. So again, that's our goal. It's not a guarantee. I just want to stress that we are working and fairly confident that we can meet that timeline. Longer term, our county administrative officer and the city managers have formed a subcommittee to develop a countywide actionable approach to homelessness countywide. I know that's high on the list of priorities for our CAO. And at this point, I'm available for any questions if you have them.
All right, do we have any questions for Ms. Valentine? Yeah.
Or me and
or for Supervisor Gibson.
Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, I'd let you go ahead and moderate the questions coming in here.
Yeah, is anybody from LOCAC first that would like to ask a question? Yale?
Kate, in the next 5 weeks that this process is going on, are they gonna receive some services there, like sanitation station, like porta potty, like shower, so that actually they will also be benefiting from this process?
Yeah, that's a good question. At this point, that is not something that the team has committed to. It's something that we're discussing, but no, I cannot commit to those facilities at this point.
Is there any funds or anything for damage done by the homeless situation?
Well, Javier, if there's specific issues that you'd like to bring forward, please go ahead and contact our office. I'm not sure about, really need to look at the specifics of that, but I think that that's probably a case-by-case basis on that.
Jim?
Kate, I'd just be very, very interested if you could define the problem a little bit more. How many people are we talking about? And what are the age range? Any kids involved? Families?
So I don't have those details. I believe Deputy Fellows may have those sorts of details, but it's my understanding and just my own walking around the site that, we're looking at around maybe a dozen people. I don't believe there are any children.
Helpful. That's helpful.
That's right, and that's consistent with what Deputy Fellows told me last time, that for a while there were about 6 to 8 people encamped there. It's grown slightly, so I think a dozen is a good rough estimate of the population.
And the ages are range from 20s to 60s, or?
I'm not completely sure Deputy Fellows would certainly have that. Deputy Fellows is the lead deputy on what we call our community action team,
Right,
or our CAP
right.
team. Specific sheriff's deputies that are trained and detailed to go out and engage the homeless population. The challenge there is that there are only 2 CAP deputies for the entire county. But Deputy Fellows is well aware of the Midtown site, and I've been talking to him on a regular basis, keeping his attention focused on it. He knows the population really well, and he's key in helping us, first of all, convince individuals to accept services. That in and of itself is a that in and of itself is a challenge. Many of these folks are living in that situation by choice, and it takes a long time of developing relationships to get them into accepting services. It's all about those relationships and all about the fact that dealing with homeless individuals is a case-by-case situation. We really need to understand each individual's situation to get the best outcome. So that's part of the complexity and thus part of the amount of time that it takes to get this done.
Mr. Gibson. Mr. Gibson?
Yeah, I'm gonna let the chair organize the questions here. So.
Yeah, go ahead, Erickson, Ms. Erickson.
Thank you. Are we focused totally on this one particular site, or are we going to be dealing with other homeless people? I know of one individual who's been sleeping in a crawl space under somebody's house. Mm-hmm. Is it just going to be this one site, or are we going to try to deal with the other homeless people in the area? We're
gonna start with the Midtown site. That connection with the fact that the county is responsible for that particular piece of property is what's allowed us to bring this a substantial team of county staff together to deal with it. We are tremendously concerned with everyone who is unsheltered and homeless and unsheltered in particular. I've asked, back last year, I asked our Homeless Services Oversight Council to establish a committee on encampments. And that committee has been working and is now in the process of trying to figure out where the resources are to provide services and alternative shelter to every individual who's homeless in this county. Again, complexity and the scale of this problem. The sad thing, the actually shameful thing is that this county has an extraordinarily high percentage of homeless people who are unsheltered. And the problem has gotten to a point now where I think I'm going to be able to gain support of my other fellow supervisors to do something about it. So, you know, the short answer is yes, we care about all those who are living in those kinds of situations. But right now, our focus is in dealing with the specifics of the Midtown site.
Okay, and Colleen Craig had a question for the supervisor. Colleen, did you want to ask your question?
Yes, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Myself. Let's see, I have 2 questions. And one is, I'm a little confused by Martin v. Boise. If somebody could elucidate that, and that is that I understand that you need a place to be able to, you know, offer somebody if you ask them to move. But then my question is, from what I've heard, that some people don't want to move, even if there is a place for them, because if they move to the place that is offered, they can't use drugs. So it then becomes, I don't want to. And I wonder how that figures into Martin v. Boise, like, I don't want to.
So,
and then the second question, if I may, is that I have heard that people are going down into the encampment on their own and trying to interact. And from one hand, I hear that please don't do that. And from the other hand, I hear, well, that's certainly okay. And as a member of the public, I'd like to know, what is the protocol? What would you like us to do or not do?
Yeah. So let me just give you the gist of the case that's Martin versus Boise. Went to a federal court appropriate to Boise, Idaho. Was that you can't criminalize being homeless. You can't criminalize a person's existence in a particular public place based on their status as a homeless individual. The reality of it is, what that means is that our law enforcement individuals or other agents of the county cannot simply force a person to relocate from public space unless there is an alternative form of shelter, or there is a specific public safety or public health issue at play. And again, those two things are combined. And so our response, our requirement, our mandate is to have alternatives for folks to find other forms of shelter. And that's what we're working on, and what we will reach out to the community to try to develop, so that with proper notice, and that's another important thing, we have to notice these folks properly, give them some time, and with a plan to take care of their personal possessions, which cannot simply be tossed aside. We've got to come up with a way in which we can offer them alternatives. If they don't choose to take those alternatives, that's another issue. But we're going to work very diligently to make sure we have the proper alternatives so that we are solid in being able to move these folks off of the Midtown site. As to the inclination of folks wanting to go out and interact with the homeless and provide them support in one way or another, that's not something I have a particular opinion about. I don't think that Deputy Fellows is on the call to offer specific advice on that matter. But let me tell you that in talking to folks who have been involved in that sort of activity, that comes from a source of the best of human intentions. These folks who are encamped in the Midtown site and living in their cars parked on Palisades are in exceptionally difficult situation. I do see that our CAT team, Jim Fellows and Sarah Kraft, are on the call, and so maybe I will at this point go ahead and turn it over to them to offer best advice as regards how members of the public might or might not interact with these folks.
Hey,
Deputy
Tim, this
Yes.
is Linda Owen, and I just have a point of order. It sounds like we've already moved into the discussion to put together a community action plan while we're still actually looking at county and agency reports. So I just request that we finish the other reports and then move into this.
Yeah, we're going to be getting into the homeless forum on the regular agenda item. So if we could maybe move on with any questions that don't relate to the homeless discussion for now, as Lindy brought up.
Yeah, if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yeah.
Jim and Sarah, are you available for a little while at this point? Just in deference to their job on patrol, I wonder if we could at least get an answer to the question of best practices for the community interacting with the homeless population.
Yeah, hi, it's Sarah. Honestly, for community-wise and citizens going down there, it's a pretty big gamble because you don't really know what you're walking into. We're very familiar with them. They know us very well. And even still, we take caution, and we're there, I'd say, at least 2 out of the 4 days of the week that we work, because we work 4/10s and Monday through Thursday. I do understand that there's the practice of administering Narcan to some people who may have overdosed. I've seen it in other cities. But the problem with that is, and I'm just using this as like one example, The problem with Narcanning somebody without having proper backup is extremely dangerous. And then walking in to folks' camps, you could walk in on somebody who's having a rough day and it could go south really quickly. So coming from our perspective, better to, I would advise against that.
Okay, thank you. And just for the record, Mr. Chairman, Shara is a psych tech that works with the CAT, and Jim Fellows is a sheriff's deputy who's had tremendous length of experience in these issues.
Great, thank you. And there was a question from Emily Miggins. Is this related to the homeless discussion, or was it something specifically for Supervisor Gibson?
Well, it's homeless, but more about the analytics of the situation. For Bruce or Kate, I mean, it doesn't matter to me, but on March 27th, you had communicated online publicly, Bruce, that you would look, and some question that I had asked, both at what led up to this increase, not just generally with the homeless population, but look at some of the questions around why we had from the start of the pilot to the end of having the public latrines, et cetera. And I'm just still curious to know, will we have that analysis and report from the county to look at both successes and failures and make that publicly available? Thanks.
And Mr. Chairman, I can give a brief response to that.
Okay.
There was a pilot program started some time ago, and I must confess I don't remember exactly when, by community groups here who are interested in seeing safe parking. And working with the county, we allowed that pilot program to use the library parking lot for safe parking. In what manner it was monitored, I'm not immediately remembering. That pilot program had very few participants, less than 3, and eventually at a point, no one was parking there. And so the community groups that put that forward decided to discontinue it. Nothing happened until the COVID pandemic started up. And in the initial series of shutdowns, when fitness centers were shut down, what our team in our emergency operations centers came to know is that many folks who are living out of their cars were using fitness center locker rooms for basic sanitation, showers, and to an extent, toilet facilities. And so the concern at that point was the means of preventing spread of COVID within the homeless and those who are living in their cars populate. Let's call them homeless population, especially those living in cars. And so the county started up 3 safe parking programs, Los Osos, and San Luis Obispo, and in Oceano. They were monitored 24 hours, or monitored overnight from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. We had a couple of probation officers in Los Osos. We saw an average census of about 7 to 10 vehicles. I was out there on a number of evenings talking to the officers, and in fact, 0 problems were reported. Part of that was to bring in shower facilities to deal with the hygiene, shower and toilet facilities. Those shower and toilet facilities were used by a few other folks who were homeless in one fashion or another. But what happened was at the level of 7 to 10, the funding that was supporting that program got to be stretched. And the decision was made, again, in the Emergency Operations Center, or the EOC, to contract that program back to simply running it out of the city of San Luis Obispo at the Vets Hall, where to my knowledge, it still operates. So that program was discontinued in Los Osos. It was after that we started to see an increase in folks parking on the street in Palisades, and then the encampments started to show up in the Midtown site. So that's the history of it. That's the full extent of the analysis that I think we're going to be able to provide. So that is what that program was about. my focus is now looking forward to both deal with, I think the biggest issue here in Los Osos is the folks encamped on Midtown for a variety of reasons that we've gone over. And then, and particularly as part of a countywide effort, to start to organize safe parking programs all over the county. And we've got some interesting possibilities of that moving forward. But that's a little longer possibility, as is trying to set up larger scale, what we call sanctioned encampments, where again, folks can be in places that are not threatening to public health and safety, and where services can be provided to them in a more efficient fashion.
Great, thank you. And are there any other questions for Supervisor Gibson not related to the homeless discussion?
I have one related to the homeless, but if he can stay throughout whenever we're
Sure.
ready.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Can do that.
Okay, great.
If we're not, if this is not the time,
Yeah, we're going to get to that on the regular agenda item. Let's just move through the rest of our agenda items first, and then you'll be the first to ask a question. So
I'm here. Thank you.
Yeah. Do we still have the sheriff with us to give the sheriff's report maybe before moving on?
Yes, I'm here, but I didn't know I was supposed to provide a report. I was here to answer questions regarding the homeless situation.
Okay. Do you want to stick around, or do you want to answer the questions now? I know you guys have been busy.
Yeah, it's been a rough day.
Yeah.
If I could answer now, I would love to do that.
Okay, are there any questions for the sheriff? Doesn't look.
Hey, Deputy Fellows, it's Emily. And thank you for everything you're doing. I'm sorry about your colleague today. Well, and before this even. But just a question, just to kind of, I mean, we've been in dialogue, obviously, and other neighbors. I'm just curious, and you don't have to answer obviously specifically, but obviously we've had some deaths in, what we refer to as the field, or the area, the Tri-W site, or if we want to call it Midtown. Just thinking over the last, let's just say, year, because I used to walk down there regularly and it wasn't in the same state at all this time last year. How many deaths have there been?
So for deaths, only one that I know of, but there have been overdoses out there where people have been Narcan. There is a pretty major drug problem out there. When we go out, we're finding uncapped needles and, drug paraphernalia running around. We're getting a lot of complaints, from the neighbors about nighttime activity. There's vandalisms and thefts, and we're trying to address all that. And then secondly, I want to throw it in here. We were out today before the shooting with Department of Social Services, Transitions Mental Health, their outreach team, CAPSLO. So we're getting out there with the services. There are promising things that are coming around, people that are willing to get the help, but that's not the majority. So we're trying to figure out what to deal with how to deal with the others that really don't want the help. They like their life, and the community is generous as it is. Bless everybody, but they're feeding them out there. They're giving them 3 meals a day. They're really giving them no incentive to leave. So that is problematic. I would rather keep these services at them, and hopefully we can get these people into drug and alcohol services. We can get them, the long-term goal is get them into housing. So anyway.
Okay. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a follow-up question. So who is feeding them 3 meals a day?
I just have rumors that I can't really say that we've been out there when people are coming out with plates of food that have been given to them. And they're just saying, oh, you know, the nice people are coming out here and giving us this food. So I just have rumors, so I'm not really going to speak on
Okay,
it.
so
But
it's
I
a
personally,
rumor. So you don't know that there's like any organized feeding of 3 meals a day to these people. This is just a rumor that you've heard. Is that correct?
No,
no,
it's true. I know. I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I do know one person.
Kelly, you need to unmute, to mute yourself. Kelly, you need to mute yourself.
So it's not a rumor.
Tim, can you mute Kelly, please?
I did. It's just not working.
Okay, so are there any other questions for the sheriff?
I have
I was just saying that, no, it's not a rumor. It's true. Yeah.
Okay, what was the other question?
And
Yes, go ahead.
I had a response to
Mhm.
Reverend Caro. There are people going there. They posted on Nextdoor and they posted on Support Los Osos, and some of them are recruiting. I mean, you might talk to Janet Allensbach.
Yes.
Recruits people to go down and feed them. And so it is going on. People are leaving food at the library door. There's boxes of food. There's people who have posted pictures of all the sack lunches that they're making and bringing to them.
Okay.
And
Does anybody else have a question for the sheriff, though? He probably has a busy night, so I don't want to keep him.
Hey, so Deputy, just quickly, so specifically, sorry I called it deaths, but let's just say the last year, how many ODs have we had?
boy, that's a good question. I can't give you an exact number, but I know of individuals that have several overdoses and have been brought back by Narcan. Yeah, so it's not a small problem, it's a big problem. There's a lot of bad drugs out there right now, and you know, these people they're not used to the potency, basically, of what's out there, and with fentanyl and all that. So, but I can't give you names or anything like that, but I know of several people that have had multiple ODs where they would have passed away if not for Narcan.
Okay, thank you. And was there another question from Francis?
Oh, no.
Okay.
I just joined in.
Okay. So
I had one question for the
yes,
deputy.
Sandra.
What has there been an increase in crime or crime related specifically to the people in the encampment there?
Yes, there is. The crime has increased. We go out there, like my partner Sarah said, about 2 times a week now at the least, if not every day. Bicycle thefts in particular are way up, and we find them all strung around the camps. You know, the vandalisms when the people are high on their drugs. I'm sure that the church has been the victim of that a couple times. So yeah, the crime is going up, and right now with the way that things are with zero bail and all that, we can't keep anybody in custody. So if we arrest somebody, we get them down to jail, and they give them a ticket with a court date about 120 days out. So there's no real consequences for the crimes right now. So it's upsetting to us, and I'm sure the community, and they're basically tying our hands is how it's going right now. We just don't have a lot of teeth anymore. But that, like I said, the opposite of that is that we are taking, outreach people out there. We're trying to get these people into drug and alcohol services and the mental health services with the ending goal.
Okay,
By the way.
thank you. Any other questions for the sheriff before we let him go?
Do you hear me?
I wanted to
Yes.
touch base on the services as well, real quick. Sorry, this is Sarah. We are constantly going out there, like Jim was saying, offering services, but the thing that we keep running into is they don't necessarily want them. And we've gone on, every different angle from it to try to offer these services. The kind of the hard truth is that these folks like their life the way it is. And even though we continue to try to offer services and give them support in any way we can, shape or form, they like the freedom. They don't want to be case managed. They don't want to be told what to do. They don't want to fit. Most of them are out here because they are wanting to be outside that box of the norm, right? So when we come in with services and try to help them, granted, not everybody, but most of them, that's trying to put them in that box of the quote norm, and they don't necessarily want that. So it's trying to find that same kind of level playing field to help them out in a way that they feel like they're taking the right steps, kind of like in their hands. But it's a battle back and forth that we've been trying to find that perfect field to get them these services. But it's really hard because not a lot of them don't want them.
Jed, so did you have a question for the sheriff?
Yes. Is there any record of how many of these guys are selling drugs to kids?
Not that I know of, no. There's been numerous arrests out there for drugs, but not that specifically. And
Okay,
there's one more thing.
Yes.
Say real, there was about age range and if there's kids and all that out there. There are no families, no children. The youngest ones that we have that have just moved out there are in the low 20s. And then we have, I think at a high, I think we're at like low 60s is the high. So that's kind of the age range out there.
Yale?
There's a recent couple that lost their rental apartment here in Los Osos. She's in her 80s and he's up there too. So the range is all up to the 80s. She's very frail. They've been there only a few months. They'll be probably one of the easier to move out of there if there is affordable housing for them. But the only reason that there is because of affordable housing shortage.
I can respond to that one. I don't know of anybody out there in their 80s. Can you describe the couple for me?
Her name is Paula. His name is Wayne. She's really frail and small. He's African-American, Wayne.
They're not in their 80s.
You can't not see them. You can't miss them.
We're
Okay,
working with them.
Okay.
Yeah, let me quick. No, they're not 80.
No.
The gentleman is 69. And we.
And how old is she? How old is Paula?
She's 1 year younger.
Oh, okay. Well, we were told she was in her 80s, and she looks like that. You know,
she does look
you
old.
could have fooled me telling me that she's so young. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so
she's
she does
not.
look,
It's no place for her to be there.
okay, and I understand. So we had the social services out there with her today, and we give them a list of housing that they can afford. So we're working. Actually, that's probably our most promising couple.
Yeah.
To get them into housing soon. So yeah, be rest assured, we are definitely working with them.
Great.
It should be the easiest, yes.
Okay, so are there any other questions for the sheriff? All right, thank you very much, Sheriff. Have a good evening.
Okay, thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good night.
Thank you.
So we'll get back to the
Bye.
we'll get back to the homeless situation on the regular agenda item. Let's move through real quick the CSD and chamber reports. Lynette, are you going to give those?
No, I'm here for the CSD report.
Okay, Vicki.
Yes, that would be me. The district has been very busy this summer working on multiple capital improvement projects, updating policies, responding to the challenges presented by our aging infrastructure, and all the while navigating through the realities of the COVID-19 pandemic. The following are a few of the highlights for the last month. The Fire Hazardous Abatement Program. The fire department successfully resolved all fire hazard weed abatement issues without having to issue any citations this year. Congratulations to all the fire crew that worked hard to keep our community fire safe this summer. It's actually a pretty big deal. Our COVID-19 response, district staff continues to monitor the county's Office of Emergency Services conference calls in order to understand the changing response from the state and local levels. The office remains closed to the public, but our staff continues to provide service to the community through phone and email contact. As always, the general manager is available by phone or email to answer any questions the community may have. His number is 805-528-9379 or muns@losososcsd.org. The Los Osos Community Plan Update. The board and district staff have been participating in the Los Osos Community Plan Update process. The three water purveyors, LOCSD, Golden State Water Company, and S&T Mutual Water Company, submitted letters to the Planning Commission expressing their concerns with the water resources section of the plan. The commission will hold what should be their final hearing on the plan at their October 8th meeting, mainly to consider issues surrounding the environmental sensitive habitat areas. A date for approval of the plan by the Board of Supervisors hearing has been tentatively set for December 15th. The Basin Management Committee and district staff are continuing the dialogue with the county on the water issues in the plan and will provide comments to the Board of Supervisors at the appropriate time. The Farrell Avenue Pathway Project. The district's Park and Recreation Advisory Committee has been working diligently on developing plans and specifications for the construction of the path between 7th Street and Farrell Avenue. That's on district property. The design and construction documents are complete. Staff will be bringing the project to the board at their October 1st meeting. The pathway will provide safe access from the south side of town to Baywood Park. The district received a letter of strong endorsement from Bike SLO County Group. The South Bay Well Transmission Main Project. This project will extend a potable water transmission main to 10th Street along Napomo Avenue from Mountain View Drive. This new pipeline will allow potable water to be delivered directly to both the water zones in the water system, which will enhance the firefighting capabilities and increase water production from the South Bay system, from the South Bay well. Pipeline installation began on October 21st and will be completed by October 15th. There may be traffic delays in this area during construction, so you may want to avoid Napomo Avenue for the next few weeks if possible. The Program C well update. The district has been working for the past 2 years to site and drill a new well in the central portion of the Los Osos groundwater basin to add reliability and yield to the district's water system. An environmental constraints analysis report has been completed. Staff will be reviewing the results and conferring with Cleith Harris and the Wallace Group to formulate a recommendation for the siting of the well. It's anticipated that the report will come to the Utilities Advisory Committee at the October 21st meeting and then move on to the board at their November 5th meeting. If you have any questions regarding the update or other district related issues, contact our general manager, Ron Munns, either by phone at 805-528-9379 or email, which is rmunns@losososcsd.org. Questions?
All right, thank you very much for the CSD report. Yeah.
I would
Lynette?
like to ask Vicki Millage if you could please email us that report. It was a really good, concise report. A lot of people don't attend CSD meetings, but maybe they will read the report on our website. So if you could email us that report, because I know you write them, that would be great. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'll get it out to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. And then the Chamber of Commerce report.
Yes, it will be a very short report. We're already an hour into this. I would just ask people to go to our website, lobpchamber.org, and click on the icon that says Business Expo. We were not able to have a live business expo this year, but we have something kind of like Hollywood Squares. It's really a well-done thing featuring businesses that would normally be in the expo. And each square will take you to the business's blurb about what they do, and you can go to their website from there. So just go to our homepage, lobpchamber.org, and check it out. And that's it.
All right, thanks, Lynette. Okay, so let's move to the LOCAC business items real quick before we get to the regular agenda items for the approval of the minutes. We have a motion to approve those minutes.
I move that we approve the minutes.
All right, do we have a second?
I'll second. This is Sandra.
Okay, Sandra, thanks. And then all in favor, if you could just put your hand up, LOCAC. All opposed? All right. And then the treasurer's report. Do we have the treasurer here to make the report?
She's not here tonight.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the committee reports. Land use. Larry, yours is one of the first on the regular agenda items. Did you have anything else?
Nothing to add this time. We're running late, so
okay.
I'll just pass on that.
All right. Traffic and circulation, anything new to report there?
Yeah, we'll probably be having an October meeting. This is Jen Harper. I'll send out some information on that because the circulation study looks like it's coming to fruition, and that'll make some changes. So we'll have that discussion. It'll probably come to the LOCAC board in October.
Great. Thank you, Jan. And then trees and landscape, Yale, do you have anything to report there?
Well, the Trees and Landscape Committee has been working on the Mora multi-use path landscape restoration project. This is a bicycle and walking path between 12th Street and all the way to South Bay, going through the Baywood community. It's a beautiful path and we need restoration. It was put together about 10 years ago and it needs restoration. And then we're working with the Park and Recreation. A couple of our members have done a really great initial proposal for the Park and Recreation, and we are ready, or maybe we already sent it. I think that Lisa is here. I'm not sure if we sent it out to the Park and Recreation yet, or it's waiting to be approved and sent out. And after that, we'll be waiting to see what's happening.
Great, thank you. And then outreach, Sandra, do you have anything to report there?
No, nothing major. I did want to just do a quick update on the bylaws. I put it in the newsletter last week, but we are going through the bylaws. They're extremely outdated, so we are going through them with a fine-tooth comb. We've just finished going through the bylaws, and now we're going through the policies and procedures manuals because they're both documents really go hand in hand. And once those are complete, we'll let the council and the public know that they'll be available for review and comment.
Great. All right. Thanks, Sandra. Okay, so let's move on to the regular agenda items. Everybody, that instead of avoiding the crosstalk, let's just, if you want to put your hand up, you'll get 3 minutes. I think that's what our bylaws state. So if you have any questions, just use the hand icon that's down on the bottom of your screen, and then we'll get to you after LOCAC has had discussion on it. So we'll start with Larry, if you want to present the minor use permit for the Keener Lopez.
Yeah, we talked about this in land use. These folks are locals around here. They live in Morro Bay. They've bought some property and they want to build a real nice house on it. It's out, if you go out of town past the cemetery, it's on the right-hand side there. Those big vacant open spaces you see, and that's where they want to build their house. It won't be visible, maybe the very top from the road, the way the landscape is there and where they want to build their house. And everyone on land use thought it was proper and appropriate thing for the neighborhood.
Okay.
Can I ask you a question?
Are there any questions from LOCAC members?
And I believe, can we have the applicants speak?
Okay.
Yeah, hi everybody. I'm
Hi.
Chris Lopez. This is my wife, Kristen Lopez. And yeah, we live in Morro Bay. We built about 10 years ago, and we have two little kids that are 4 and 7. And I grew up in Santa Cruz on a farm, and we really wanted a chicken coop. And we were looking for an acre, and we found 12. So then with COVID and everything, we decided, hey, why not try to build a home that would have a space for us to do projects and books, and I don't know, we're really excited to kind of build a place and have our children grow in an area that we love, and introduce them to maybe a couple chickens and start doing some farming with them. So
great.
We're happy to answer any questions you guys have.
Yeah, there were some questions that came through, and I sent some emails back, and I think there were some requests for permits and stuff previously to us buying the lot. But anyway, if anyone has questions, we're excited to answer.
All right, is there any questions from LOCAC, Sue?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask what so the only plans you have for this land are what you guys are planning to use for yourself, your home, your children, a farm, whatever. No other sort of businesses or anything like that. Cool. Thank you.
No, ma'am.
Any other questions from LOCAC members? Anybody from the public have any questions? Okay. So anyone want to make a motion?
Lindy has a question.
Lindy has a question.
Lindy, I can't see everybody, so.
Oh, I'm sorry. Lindy Owen, and I did not see the responses to the questions that I had, which are concerning the possibility of a future cannabis grow on the property. There was a prior permit application that looks like it's on hold because of county regulation changes right now. That would make a big difference, in my opinion, about water use. And my other question was, what I had requested, I think, was the idea that they would agree to meter their well for usage. It doesn't mean that they are limited to how much they can use, but it gives us, in the basin plan work, a chance to see increases in water use on currently unused parcels that I think would be very helpful. And I've been pushing that we just have all private wells metered so that we know the usage, so we can plan for future growth in Los Osos.
Great. Go ahead, you guys can respond to that if you want.
So the previous information about someone growing cannabis, that was for someone that tried to make an offer on the land before us. So we have no intention of doing that. That was just someone that was interested in the property prior to our interest. So it has nothing to do with us or our home.
And then for the water question, Lindy, I reached out to Public Works, and the response I got back was just to follow all current regulations and do kind of what I'm told to do. So I'm just going to follow the rules and regs. Right now, the county code specifically stated that I have to provide access to a county employee so that they can check twice a year the depths. Currently, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but we were just told that we were not to meter or it was not a requirement at this time.
And that they didn't actually have the staffing or want more of that.
Yeah. So if anything changed or we were required to do
we're
it,
open to it, but
we're gonna
right
follow
now
the
it's
rules.
not a requirement or something they're encouraging us to do.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So my response would be, it would be voluntary on your part. And I think that would satisfy some of the needs that we have in Los Osos to begin getting these wells monitored for usage so that we can put together a decent basin plan. So I just encourage that if you can take that extra step, it starts a precedent for us being able to see how much water comes off of wells especially since this property has not used that well, apparently. So anyway, I just urge that from my point of view. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindy. Any other questions before somebody makes a motion?
I'd like to make a motion
Larry.
that we approve, or support this project. I think it's a good project for the area and for the people involved. And yeah, we just support the project.
I'll second that.
All right. So LOCAC, all in favor? Any opposed? Okay, looks like the motion passes.
Thank you, everyone, for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks for all the
Thank
confusion.
you.
But thank you for coming.
All right. So the homeless forum, Yale, did you want to introduce that?
This is Jan.
right.
Jan?
I'd like to push that to the end and
Okay.
go
Sure.
take the Back Bay situation, because I think it'll be an easier to have a full discussion if it's at the end.
Yeah. Okay, that's a good idea. Who is going to present that? Larry.
Bob Simonson. I think he's on here somewhere. I saw him earlier.
Yeah, I saw Bob too. I
Yeah,
think
I'm
he's
here.
somewhere.
Okay.
Oh, so this is the Bob's project. They're making some changes to the Back Bay Inn, and he can kind of fill you in on that.
Great.
So you want me to go?
Yep, go for it.
Okay. First thing is, it's the Baywood Inn.
Oh,
it's the one
Baywood
that's
Inn,
on,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all right. It's on the east side of 2nd Street. So, and one other little correction. I noticed on your website, you had the county muck referral for the old gas station project from 2016. And that one was approved by LOCAC back in 2016. So somehow they got connected or mixed up. So what this project, Chair, I know you're
Yes.
going to have a long discussion. Boy, has Los Osos changed in the 6 years since I lived there with the homeless. So I'll look to you for guidance on how detailed do you want? Do you want me to give a history of the project?
Just a short, like kind of what's being done and what the changes are from what it was from before, I guess.
Oh, I can't. Okay. All right.
And before you start, Bob, this is Jan. You probably want to mention why you're at LOCAC.
Yeah, I will. Okay.
Excellent.
All right. Thank you. Thanks, Jan. So this was a project that was approved by the county in 2003. And because of different issues with septic systems, it was put off. Well, first it was appealed to the Coastal Commission. So this is no longer a county project. It's a coastal project now. And Coastal Commission, we're asking for an amendment to the approved project, and Coastal Commission has asked to get LOCAC's opinion on it. So what it is, and I don't know how familiar all of you are with the Baywood Inn, but the large building, which was the original building from 1989, there's a big parking lot in front of it. And I call that, did everybody get to see the set of plans?
Yeah.
Yes? Okay.
Yes.
Yep.
That is lot 1, is that lot that's in front of the existing bed and breakfast or Baywood Inn. Lot 2 is the existing lot off of 3rd Street. Lot 3 is one that it's already approved by Coastal Commission, and it was approved as part of the original project. So what we're asking Coastal Commission to give us an amendment on is Alex Benson, the owner, has decided he wants to remove the lot that's in front of the existing Baywood Inn and turn it into a landscape area, you know, with paths and stuff like that. And those would be paths that the public will be able to walk through along with the guests of the hotel. The second thing he wants to do, so that's lot 1, will no longer be there. So those parking spaces, which there's 14 parking spaces there, they are going to get dispersed between lots 2 and 3. Lot 2 will be increased in size by 171 square feet in order to accommodate 3 more parking spaces there. Lot 3, which is the one that is not built yet, but is approved, that one will have 270 square feet of parking lot added to the existing parking lot. So what happens is lot 3 ends up with 18 spaces and lot 2 ends up with 17 spaces, which the project's approved with 35 spaces, which meets all of the land use ordinance requirements. The other part of the project is that we're taking the existing 5 septic tanks, all of them are 3,000 square feet and a pump station, and those are being cleaned and turned into a water catchment system from those parking lots. So all the water will go to those, what are now were septic tanks, and they will be used for watering the runoff will be used for watering the plants and the new landscaping. Another part of the project is where the old mound was for the leach field mound. That Alex wants to put a pickleball court in there and landscape it. It'll all become part of the landscaping. And all of this shows on the plans that I sent to Larry. So why don't I let me address some of the questions that came up at land use. And the first one was some people didn't like, oh, I forgot. The 5th part of the project is that he's going to put a solar array across the parking lot number 3. And it's going to look somewhat like the schools do. You know, it's all metal frame and the panels, it's a 30 kW system. It's going to run the all 3, because there's a new 8 units that are going to go on the north side of Lapa Lapa. And those have all been approved and have building permits for that. So this solar array is going to take care of the existing Baywood Inn, the new 6 units that were just completed on the south side, the new 8 units, and Alex also owns the Lapa Lapa restaurant property. So all of that will be covered with the solar panels. And also lot 3 has 4 EV charging stations are going to be included in that. So anyway, one of the first questions was the industrial look of the solar. And since the land use, I talked with the engineer for the solar, and we're really going to have to use the same steel framework, like somewhat similar to what you see at the schools. Now, Alex said he'll work on painting it or screening them with landscaping, whatever he can do. He's he's willing to work with the community on that. Noise from the pickleball court. That was a concern that people expressed. And what we're going to do, it's the pickleball court will be fenced, just like you see with tennis courts. And I'm sure all of you have seen the kind of green mesh they put around the tennis courts for wind blockage. Well, Alex, we talked to a company called Acoustablock, and they make an acoustic screen. It's solid, you can't see through it, that reduces noise, and it's made for pickleball courts. So Alex will be using that around the entire fence of the pickleball court in order to reduce the noise on that. The third issue that was brought up was parking, but the parking wasn't really, I mean, we have the legal amount of parking, but the parking was just brought up in general for downtown Baywood. And so I brought up, I'm sure all of you are aware of Appendix B and the existing update. That is something, the downtown Baywood plan is something we did when I was on LOCAC many years ago. And that has parking in the diagonal parking down the center of 2nd Street in that plan. And I sent Larry a copy of, a more detailed copy of the spaces for that I had done back in 1998 or whatever it was. And Carrie Brown has a copy of that also. So that's basically my answer to the question about parking in Baywood in general. But the project itself doesn't really create a problem for parking because we already have the parking. Okay, any questions?
Questions from LOCAC members? Any questions from the
Bob,
public? Yeah.
Oh, Bob. Yeah, one thing you're going to hear that came to thing about is about the trees on the property.
Oh, yes.
People
Sorry.
are concerned about the trees.
Yeah, yeah. And in particular, the sycamore tree was brought up, and that tree is staying. It is staying in the on the plans, it's staying, and under the coastal permit, it stays.
Okay. Trish, you have a question?
I have a question. By looking at the plans, it looks like you're going to have 5 fire pits, 3 of them in the front. If you're going to have in lot 1, if you have 3 fire pits in lot 1, how are you going to have trees there to help shield the view of the inn from the bay? Because I thought part of what we're supposed to be doing in Los Osos and Baywood is that if we have properties, we're supposed to be shielding them with trees and landscape from the bay. And if you have 3 fire pits in lot 1, there will be no shielding. I mean, there will be no trees above them because of course they'll catch fire. So are you only going to have that 1 tree on the side and then no other trees?
Well,
in front of the
tree that people were concerned about is the sycamore tree that's between
Right.
the old sculptured egg and the new 8 units.
Okay, so
the rest
you're not
of it,
planning on putting any more trees in, so it's just gonna,
no, and that isn't a requirement of the coastal permit either. Now there'll be trees in the back,
But
there'll be
not in the
some
front.
trees, and these fire pits are not, they're gas fire pits, okay? I live in Mission Beach now, and boy, I'll tell you, the fire pits are a huge issue down here because of smoke. But these are just gonna be gas.
okay. Thank you.
All right, any other questions from the public? I don't see any hands raised.
I have a question.
Yes?
I don't see hand raise on mine, so I'm just
Oh, okay, go ahead, Lisa.
sorry about that. Hi, Bob. It's me again. It's Lisa, and I have a lot of tree questions. I'm really glad you answered about the sycamore. It just wasn't labeled. So that's why I wanted to confirm, but thank you about that.
Yes.
You know how you're planting two Metrosideros over in front of the restaurant? No, the Baywood Inn, Village Inn, as a street tree?
You know, I didn't do the landscape plan.
Okay, well, my question is this. In front of the new Baywood Village Inn,
That's the one on the north side. Yeah.
Two of those trees are on your plant legend under trees, and they're the New Zealand Christmas tree. And you have two here, and it just seems like they're a great tree, by the way. They have them in Santa Barbara as street trees. They'll do well here. But what about having more of them? Like, there's room in front of La Palapa. Is there a possibility of conveying this to the owner that it would be great for the community to have more trees as public trees, streetscaping on the outer perimeter of this, what appears to be a rather large park-like inn?
Yeah, that's a good question. Now, what I would say is, and you know Alex, don't you, Lisa? He
No.
lives around the corner from you.
Yeah, no, I don't know him though.
Oh, okay. Because Alex is really he's willing to work with the community on things like the Second Street plan. They're going to form a parking district, and basically Alex and Bill Lee are, because they're the largest property owners there, they're going to end up building it. Now, what I would say is, and Alex and his wife, they love trees, but this downtown Baywood plan, part of it is, along that where the sidewalk is now, there's going to be some planting areas and places for probably some outdoor dining or something, depending on what the community actually ends up wanting to do. So I think your discussion about the trees, and I can talk with Alex about it, really kind of needs to wait until you see what the downtown Baywood plan as it comes to fruition. And I know that's probably sounds like it's beating around the bush, but that's the...
Well, that's fine. I'll chime in at that point. But at this point, when I look at this plan and I know how many trees have left this property, you know, for the new lodging that was just built, for example, on the legend, it shows one little X that there was one tree taken out. Well, no, there were 3 giant old growths Monterey cypress along there. And then there was a bunch of trees back kind of in the parking lot area and what's now the hoop house area. Along in that area, there were trees taken out. I don't know if as a sense of place for Baywood and Los Osos, trees are a part of our sense of place. And I'm worrying that we're not planting enough of the bigger species. You have on here 2 Japanese maples. Well, that's an ornamental. It's almost like planting an ornamental shrub. So to have them count as on your tree legend, it just doesn't have the same effects as far as benefits to health and wildlife. And just streetscaping our business district, the aesthetic of that. So I feel like it's a little deficient on the planting of large scale trees. That's my main point. I'm worried about that. I'm concerned about that. And that's what I'm bringing forward. And, you know, with the fire pits in front of the old lodge in what used to be the parking lot, you know, there's a clear preservation of that building's views outward to the bay. But for us that live here to see that very large old business building that's very tall and right on the bay, it would be nice to have it softened with a tree or two. Right now, there's just, you're just preserving the one old black pine. That's very nice, but it's a little bare.
Yeah.
Such a big building. And the ground plane will be done, but where's the verticals? So that's pretty much my point. I'll send you some notes.
Okay.
And I'd love them to be passed on to Alex.
Yeah, I
Could you
will
do
talk
that?
to Alex.
Okay.
Do
Thanks.
we have any other questions?
I have a question.
Okay.
Tim, I'm sorry, can I interject real quick?
Yeah,
I'm
go
wondering
ahead.
if this can be brought back to the land use committee, because it seems like there's a lot of issues that are coming up or questions to have more of that detailed discussion.
Did this go through land use?
Yes, it did.
Because it's not on the consent agenda to vote on, right?
To answer that question, is they would, the applicant, and it's not an applicant, they'd like to take something to the Coast Commission to get a change of their permit. When they do that, then the Coast Commission will send back to us the new change of permit for land use and LOCAC input. Again, you know, a more official time. Am I right enough, Bob?
Yeah, well, okay, we're in for an amendment with the Coastal Commission. They asked if they asked to get LOCAC's opinion. Their main issue, or their main request on LOCAC's opinion was on the solar and the structure of the solar. Let me just make a comment. The landscaping's already approved. That's a done deal. Now it's not, I mean, as far as approval goes, but Alex he's worked well with the community over the years. So I'm sure, and I'm going to talk to him about it. I'm sure he will continue to do that. And as far as the front parking lot goes, the alternative is we leave the parking lot. That would be even an environmental disaster, because right now, those parking lots, they go and drain into the bay directly with the DI, the drain inlet that's on 2nd Street in front of the Baywood Inn. And that pipe goes right across over to the pier and out into the bay. This plan is going to eliminate that in itself. So the benefit to the community, I think, is overwhelming. But that doesn't mean Alex won't work with you on some, you know, on trying to get some different trees in there. But as far as the landscape plan as it is right now, it is already approved.
Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
My name is Tova, and I'm coming to this discussion a little late, but I live right behind the Baywood Inn on the corner of 3rd Street and El Moro. And I've been here 4 years now. I came here, I'm retired. And I have noticed over these 4 years a huge reduction in huge trees right around my corner, and the reduction in the bird life, the change in the wind patterns. And I would like to reiterate Lisa's comments about the visual quality of our area, which I've noticed huge change just in 4 years. And I know maybe it's been approved already, and if Alex will work with us, but why do we need 3 fire pits in front of the Baywood Inn? Why can't we have 1 big tree and 2 fire pits, for example? Things like that I would like to bring up again. Maybe it's a moot point, but I've huge change in the last 4 years right around this part of Baywood. And it's not It's not nice. To me, it's not nice. So yeah, if there's an opportunity to work with Alex, I would be happy to participate.
Okay, and some of the old cypress trees that were on 3rd Street were taken down because, well, for one, the county arborist said to do it in 3 or 4 cases of them because they had one had fallen against the others and they were starting to lean, and he determined that they were a hazard. But that happened before you were there, if you've only been there 4 years. So, but
the cypress that were taken out, there were 3 huge cypress along the, I guess it's the northeast edge of the original parking lot in front of the Baywood Inn.
yeah, those were all taken
part of
out.
my view shed. They were gorgeous. They were healthy. There was nothing wrong with them. The same with that big stand of eucalyptus that was behind the Baywood Inn. There was nothing wrong with those trees, but they were all just cut down. And all of the migratory blackbirds that come in every year don't go there anymore. Where are they going? You know what I'm saying? It's like,
yeah,
we're degrading our environment for fire pits and a pickleball court. Excuse me. I just wonder what the priorities are in this town.
Okay, well, the pickleball court is going where the existing mound was for the septic system. That's where the leach field was. So there haven't been any trees there for 25 years.
Yes, I understand that. But if there haven't been any trees there and trees were taken out from elsewhere where there's obviously no room to plant trees anymore because there's a building, it seems to me we need to have some kind of mitigation or compensation for the loss of the environment in our area rather than bringing in more activity that's going to reduce wildlife and planting space. That's just my one comment, and it's a personal comment.
Okay.
I'd like to
so,
make something, if I may.
what I'll do is I'll ask, you still have a tree committee, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'll talk to Alex about getting together with the tree committee. And
I think that would be great. I think that's what the consensus here seems to be, the trees. And so that would be great if Alex could meet with Yale's tree and landscape committee and maybe put something together that would make everybody happy.
Okay, all right. Now, on this, I asked Brian O'Neill, who's the Coastal Commission staff person, what he wants from LOCAC, because this is not your standard project because it's not a county project, so it's not operational the way it normally is, where LOCAC votes and then takes and sends an approval to the county. So, and he said a letter or an email, and I would like to have you get us a letter or email that is in favor of the project, but I think it's totally appropriate for you to put in that you have concerns about large trees in the area, and you'd like Alex to work with the tree committee.
Thank you, Bob. I think I'll make that a motion.
Okay. Sue, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that when we've been discussing this now through land use and now here, and I didn't understand that what I'm supposed to be voting on now has nothing to do with the landscaping, nothing to do with the trees. It's all about the solar panels. So,
well, no, okay, maybe I wasn't clear enough. That was Coastal Commission's main concern because that's a structural element. You know, it's going to be about 15 feet high and have some structure. So Brian O'Neill just requested that that you give your opinion about the solar panels also.
So,
but you should give your comments on all the things that you think are important.
So if I can clarify, and Larry, maybe you can help this, as far as what LOCAC is voting on is the amendment, approval of the amendment to the Coastal Commission for the solar panels.
No.
Approving the project. Like what, if you could clarify exactly what it is, are we just giving an opinion? Are we making a motion to approve recommendation of the project? Are we just approving this amendment?
No, because, oh, sorry, go ahead, Larry.
I was just going to say, this is just a preliminary. There is no, they're putting in an application to change their permit. The Coastal Commission would like some input from the community. You know, are they going down the right path, or, you know, is the community totally against it? You know, before they actually try to make a change to the permit. At that time, it will come back to us, or it can be. At that time, it is open to public comment and input, and at that time, we can make another decision. Do we support it or we don't?
Yeah, I think
Once
this is
okay.
I think this is a good amendment because he's willing to work with the Tree and Landscape Committee, and you guys can all be involved in helping with how that's going to look.
Okay, let me clarify something, because that wasn't exactly correct. We've already applied for the amendment. Coastal staff sent me an email that they support it, but they want LOCAC's feedback. Let's put it that way. And
Bob, they have not sent us anything regarding a change in permit. So you might have talked with them about a change of permit, but they have not sent us a notification that there is, and it's totally written out exactly what it is that you're requesting to change.
Okay, that's because Coastal, your charge at LOCAC is with the county. This project, the minute it was appealed and the Coastal Commission took it over, it no longer became a county project. It was no longer a county project. It was now a coastal project. So Coastal doesn't interact with the advisory councils other than to get feedback from the advisory council on this amendment.
Okay, I'll get in touch with Bob. I'll get in touch with Bob, and I'll clarify it with him. When I talked to him before, this is how he explained it to me. So I don't want to carry this conversation on all night.
Francis has a question. Go ahead, Francis.
This is my first time in evaluating that plan, and my first impression is that I think it's a good improvement. You know, the fact that this is going to the Coastal Commission, the criteria is going to be much higher. I can appreciate the whole landscaping and need for more trees and a vertical scale. But overall, I think he's done a really good job of putting together a plan. My only concern is that this is only going to be used for the hotel guests, and you know, what benefit does the community have other than, you know, he's going to be doing, you know, a total upgrade in terms of that area. And I like the fact that he's thought about, you know, the solar electricity source and trying to mitigate, you know, its appeal. The pickleball court, I mean, is that just for the guests? I guess that's my biggest question. This isn't for community use.
Pickleball, oops, sorry.
Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, it seems we have beat this horse to death. We have discussed it at length. Seems to me that if the minutes
had
from
a
the
chance.
meeting should be forwarded to Bob, then he will have had the input of our committee.
Wait, not everybody has beaten
Which is
us
what
to
he's-
death. Some of
That's
us
what
have-
you're looking for, Bob, right?
No, I'd like to find out the answer to the question I have about the pickleball use, and this is not beating a dead horse. Go ahead.
Okay. The pickleball court is for the guests. That's a liability issue. The front re-landscaping of that existing parking lot right off of the sidewalk, there are going to be paths coming from the existing public sidewalk into that garden area, and people from the public are welcome to use that community area. There's going to be benches.
Okay. Okay. So
things.
people will, be able to walk along the property, even though they're not staying there, and they can enjoy it as well. And again, the topic of the pickleball, how many people are going to be using it from the hotel? I guess that's a business decision, whether he thinks it's going to benefit the guests. But I do think that, the trees are important, and that should be probably brought up in another, another meeting to make sure that, people's concerns are addressed. And, but overall, I think it looks pretty good. That's just my, first glance viewpoint.
Go ahead, Sue.
Okay, thanks. I don't know how, first of all, I think the landscaping, what you're talking, the way you think that Alex will work with the community to select trees and stuff, I think that's really great. And I think what you're talking about is really great. That's what I've been sort of concentrating on, and thank you for the offers that you're making. But if I'm supposed to vote on the solar panels for the parking area, and that's what Coastal wants to hear, would it be outrageous for me to ask if we could get some sort of drawing that's going to show what it's going to look like and how far? I mean, if they want our opinion, I can't give you my opinion based on the fact that we haven't really talked about that or what that exactly means, because I didn't know that was our focus. So,
well, okay, we have the plans show in plan view where they're going to be. And then there's a section showing the height, so you can see what the section of them will look like.
is that in one of the documents that we have online?
Yes. Yeah. It's on the sections are on, hold on.
Would that be in the, which link, the first link or the second link?
The section just showing the height and what the form of the solar panel structure is on page 3.
Page 3. So then I'm in the.
While you're looking that up, Sue, are there any other questions from the community?
So
just really quickly from a corporate sustainability point of view, and for LOCAC and the tree committees, whatever. So the value, obviously, you're hearing about older stand or individual trees, which have less of a carbon sink than younger trees. This conversation, probably because of our county, is a little behind where some of the larger counties in our state are with the climate action plan, et cetera, and corporate social responsibility, corporate business responsibility, ESG standards, et cetera. So as a resident, what I'd really like to see in a sustainability expert in corporate America, I'd really like to see kind of some of the trade-offs with carbon sink versus having 5 fire pits, which are emitting gas constantly. And that has an impact, which, reduces the value of the landscaping. I think it's important, and I'll reach out to the Coastal Commission on my own. But I think it's important that you're able to report on that And so that, you know, everyone can go on that learning curve. We're not very good in this county at kind of going on those learning curves together between business, government, and, you know, the community. But there is an impact to gas using appliances, including indoors. So, or fireplaces indoors. And I don't know the plan. I'm not saying, but as kind of that person that lives here, I'd really like to see it. And obviously I am so excited about your solar investment. That is incredible. And again, that's going to be a positive, but let's balance out the negatives. And certainly there are LEED standards, which have been around for 20 years that you can look at. Thanks.
Okay, can I make a suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead.
If we could get, if you or Larry or someone could email me with a, that number one, LOCAC discussed it. Overall, you would support the project, but you would like the issue of trees and fire pits to be addressed. And I mean, like Coastal Commission, they could put in a condition of approval that Alex works with the tree committee to come up with a better tree plan.
Yeah, Larry, did you want to?
Yeah, I'd like to follow up on that. And that's exactly what I was trying to come up with a motion of today, that we just, there's some concerns that the public has about trees and stuff, you know, but concerns. And that we think the owner will address a lot of those concerns. But, you know, overall, you know, they already have a permit to expand the hotel, and that most, you know, they just want to make a few changes in it. And, you know, all in all, I think we all agree on that. You know, few trees here and there. Going solar is good. You know, I don't see there's any big people against this project. They just like it twisted a little bit better, you know. So yes, I'm going to follow up with that.
Not so good for the environment. So let's focus on that too.
Yeah, but let's put that in there, you know, and then see what they come up with. So yes, I'm willing to follow through with this. I'll come up with a suggested statement that I'll pass to all LOCAC members and make public.
Okay.
And if somebody else wanted some more input into that, they could contact me, and we could formalize a letter.
Okay. Sue?
We keep getting away from the solar panel things, and that's what I keep hearing, that have we moved? Somebody telling me, somebody tell me I need to get off this solar panel thing, because I mean, it sounds like a great thing and all, but I have no idea what it's look like. What if the Coastal Commission wants my opinion on this solar panels, I have no idea what I would say, because we haven't talked about it. It's supposed to be 15 feet in the sky. Okay, well, what does that mean? I have no idea what I'm, you know, I would hate to come back and having okayed something, I really don't know what I'm okaying, and have it come back to bite us. I understand it's a good thing and probably is going to happen anyway, but tell me I should just let this go. Or, you know.
Sue, let me pull the documents and I will send them directly to you, so you don't have to fish through everything.
Well, I have the documents here. I mean, I have the thing. It shows a car, you know, here, and then it's got the 15-foot thing there. I just don't know from the other side of the street what that's going to look like. Does that matter? I mean, when you talked about trees, can they plant trees so that that's not seen from the street? All this conversation we've had about keeping the coziness of downtown Los Osos, or whatever we're talking about it, with the trees and not making any start. What?
Sorry. It's in the back. It's in the back of the hotel, so it's not.
You're not going to see it. You're not going to see it from this.
The people on Third Street will see it, but it's going to be a covered, it's going to look like a covered parking lot.
Okay. And
You know how they do parking lots and they cover
Are we
covering.
okay with that? Are we okay with that? I mean, we've not discussed this. We've not said 2 words about this.
So could I make a motion? Could I make a motion that we submit a letter to the Coastal Commission reflecting the concerns that have been brought up regarding landscaping, gas fire pits, and solar panels? And that this letter will be, that we submit this letter with those concerns reflected, and that we'd like more.
Okay, can I
Yeah.
ask?
Sandra, maybe you and I can work on that letter.
But do we need to vote on it? So if I'm, does the council agree that we will submit a letter like this, or we just table this and work on the letter?
So the issue of the solar panels, I guess I need to know, what is the concern? See, they're 16 feet tall. The height limit is 25 feet in downtown Baywood. So
what about the slope
there can be buildings there that are 25 feet tall. Now, I'm not sure, Susan, what do you need? Do you need a drawing, like a 3D drawing of just what 15-foot tall or 16-foot tall solar panels look like?
Well, that would be a nice thing, but I'm trying to get from you guys if I'm making something out of nothing, because I don't really understand. So is that?
Well, I heard very early from Bob that the Coastal Commission wanted our opinion about the solar panels. And we've spent a lot of time talking about everything else. I'm with Sue. I have no idea what these panels look like.
Can I give you a suggestion?
Yeah, go ahead.
A lot of this is like, I think it's like the parking in the Morro Bay High School parking lot and Los Osos Middle School parking lot, those solar panels. So if you want a good example of it, there it is.
Yeah.
Good. Thanks.
I don't know if it's exactly 15 feet, but it gives you an idea of what it might look like.
But I don't know what that's going to look like on this little, that's
Street.
Valley Road, huge street. And we're talking about this little road, 3rd Street or whatever, and these.
Well, I think with Sandra's suggestion, if we put together something saying that's a concern, the fire pits are a concern, and the trees and meeting with trees and landscape is a concern, I think that's all that they're looking for from us.
Okay.
So if Larry said he's going to take that on to put that together, so.
Okay.
So, and I'll just say this, that your solar installer should be able to provide an ArcCAD kind of drawing from that view and that angle.
Be helpful.
Yeah, I think that's something you can request, and to allay concerns or, verify concerns. But, I did them, for years with Safeway Vaughn stores throughout California and Arizona. And these were always questions that came up. Your solar provider can give you a map. I had to do it for my own house.
Okay, I can do that.
You can draw it.
Okay, what I'll do is I'll send Larry a drawing, a 3D drawing of the solar panels, because they are going to slope a little bit because the ground slopes there. So I'll send Larry a drawing, and then if he can, if he could send it out to your group. See, I don't want to wait for another meeting. I would just soon go to Coastal Commission and say, okay, listen, you guys make your decision, and go from there, because this project's been going on for a long time, and I don't think anybody is arguing that it's not a benefit to put this whole complex on solar panels.
I think it's wonderful.
And we looked at we looked at doing them on the roofs, but we didn't have enough area on the roofs to do it. So that's why it was decided to do it this way. But I know, Alex, if you want, I can talk to him about doing it on the roofs instead.
I'll let it go. We can
No,
just.
no, I don't want you to let it go.
No, it was not my intention at all to delay this. I think it's a great idea. It's just that now all of a sudden I'm being asked to vote on how I feel about these solar panels, and I really don't have that much idea.
I'll do a drawing, send it to Larry.
Yeah, let's do that.
And then he can kind of disperse it to you and then get back to me if there's still concerns and what those are. And I think also, which that made me think about, in the letter, the request to work with the tree committee is good, because these solar panels, we're not going to want to plant a whole bunch of trees that are going to block the sun from the solar panels too. So we can work with the tree committee on where the best place to put the trees are in relation to the solar panels.
Right. Okay.
Sounds good.
I was going to suggest, it's Lindy, that maybe I think some of the concern is the architectural look of these solar panels. So maybe, Bob, if you can do a couple with some of the panels on the roof and a more architectural design of the rest of them down below, that would give us, I think that's a little challenge that could end up being architecturally very much more attractive and still give you the energy that we're hoping you'll take.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I could draw a beautiful drawing of solar panels, but I need to do something. You need to know what it realistically is going to look like. And we're going to have a steel frame system similar to those at the
the middle school.
So, and so we could deal with landscaping on that. Okay.
Okay, well, please don't derail.
Sorry to take so long.
No, it's okay.
This on my fault. Yeah, it was never my intention. I just wanted a little more discussion on this. So I'm happy if we move forward however you guys want.
Okay. So Larry, you're going to put together something that addresses those concerns in a letter?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
Could I make one more comment? This is Tova again. I'm the resident behind the Baywood Inn. When you do that drawing, can you do it in context? Because all of the buildings on 3rd Street across the street are tiny one-story homes.
Yes, I know.
And this is going to be almost double the height of those. You're talking 16 feet. So the scale of it on 3rd Street is going to be quite remarkable compared to the existing condition. And when you say the Coastal Commission is only responsible, legally, I don't understand that. They are the lead agency, but the county is still a responsible agency. And so
I don't know if Carrie's still on, but Carrie could explain it to you.
Oh, I think I understand that part of it, but I'm just saying that there needs to be more discussion and visual evidence to show this in the scale of the neighborhood. Now, I don't know whether other people feel that way, but I do.
I understand that it's lower than the building, right?
Oh, yes.
So there is no problem of blocking the view, Tova. And I think that solar panels should get the benefit of the being solar panel.
Oh,
so,
yeah, I totally think it's a huge benefit to have solar panels.
Your solar provider and installer, ArcCAD, and I think that you guys need to move forward tonight to the rest of your meeting. You need to get the images, Tova, because I don't know what it looks like either. But there's beautiful software that helps solar installers show the case for how they're going to install and what it's going to look like. And you deserve that. You definitely deserve that.
Okay, Tim. Tim, can we decide something on that? We've beat this horse.
Right. Yeah. So you're going to put together a letter that addresses the concerns of the trees, the the look of the solar panels and the use of the fire pits, correct?
Yes. And I'll give it to all LOCAC members, all the subdivision members, and to the public. It'll be all out there.
Okay.
And we'll get it done.
Okay, so let's
move
on from it then.
So that's it for today on this topic.
Okay, so I'll be in contact with you, Larry.
Okay, Bob.
All right. Thank you, everybody.
All right, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, so the discussion will be for a homeless forum, a special committee of LOCAC that will take on the issue of homelessness in Los Osos. And Jim called today. I got a message from him that he is willing to be a LOCAC member on this committee. Yael, you need 2 LOCAC committee members to make a subcommittee. So you have Jim and yourself.
Right. So I got the committee. So I need approval from LOCAC, and the idea of the forum came actually, is Bruce still here? Bruce and Blake?
I am gone.
I am.
Yeah, good. So we've discussed the issues when it all started. You know, the discussion started going on in a community, and you, Bruce, and Blake were good enough to to advise me and to ask that I will put together a forum on homelessness, similar to what was done last year in Cambria. And I actually talked to the people in Cambria, and Mike Leon was here until just a minute ago, but he got tired, I think, and he left. Yeah, I'm looking for him. Mike, are you here? No. So he was going to give us a background, I'm sorry, a background about what happened in Cambria. I'm looking at the program that Blake sent me of the forum, and it was really pretty comprehensive. So what they did, the advisory council of Cambria, what they did, they put together county agencies, the deputies, health agencies, the homeless services coordinator, some of the churches that were involved with helping the homeless population there, and some other groups, some of them similar to what we have here, and had a discussion about what does it mean to help and try to solve the issues of unhoused people. This is a year later, and we are having the problem here now. I think they still have more unhoused people that we have, but we have it here. So I think that will be a good idea to work with the county. It will get us all together. We almost got all together today, but unintentionally, but it will be more comprehensive than what we did today. It will go through the progress of what is done. I think that agencies started working, and in a few weeks, that will take a few weeks, the subcommittee will have to decide how soon we can put it together, and with the help of Supervisor Bruce Gibson and Blake, of course, and some of the people that I already been in touch with, that you helped me get in touch with, and with our activists here. So we have quite a few good people in Los Osos. We have Reverend Carol that is really involved, and I would like maybe for her to say a few words. And we have Linda that is running the Los Osos Cares, and we have a whole group of people around them. And Jim actually is part of that group, and so it's so good to come and volunteer for that. So if any of the other people here in Los Osos would like to say a few words, I'd appreciate it. And then if Bruce and Blake want to say a few more things, but they maybe they can say a few more things too. And then we'll just decide that we are meeting and when we are going to meet very soon, and then we'll announce when the forum will take place.
I had a question in terms of the forum, and Supervisor Gibson, maybe you can answer this as far as will having a forum really support the work that the task force is doing to communicate what is happening and what the task force is happening to the community of Los Osos? I'm wanting to make sure that whatever we do is in conjunction with and supporting the work.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And like what that crossover is. Or
yes, absolutely. That's the idea.
I do think it will, because a big piece of the forum, there are two-way communication. One of them was to educate the community on the various aspects of homelessness, and it is a complex issue. You heard a little bit of that with Deputy Fellows explaining the difficulty of getting certain folks to accept services. And so I think it's useful for the community to understand the whole gamut of things that go into trying to successfully get folks on the path to permanent housing. At the same time, it's a chance for those who are directly involved to hear the specific concerns of the community that they're dealing with. And that happened really well in Cambria. So I think that the immediate needs of Los Osos are well known. We have our CAT team, as you heard from Deputy Fellows. He and Sarah Kraft work countywide. They're spending a lot of time in Los Osos to try to get ready for what we're doing upcoming here. So I think the needs are well known, but it's also just to let people generally in the community who can listen know that there are a lot of folks working on this problem, that this problem exists countywide, statewide, nationwide, of course, and that give a little perspective on what we are doing as we go into the future. So the one in Cambria was broadly attended in person. Unfortunately, that doesn't look like what's going to happen here. But folks, I think, understood very much more the issues, and with that understanding comes community support, and that's really what is also important to getting a solution here.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure of that connection and that support.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Can I ask a question?
Who is this?
This is Cindy.
Okay.
I'm confused about the subcommittee. Is that two people that are LOCAC members that are going to be now a subcommittee?
I'm sorry. All subcommittees of LOCAC are made up of LOCAC members. At least two. We can have up to 5, and then public members. So we will have public members working on the subcommittee too. Yes.
And how are the public members selected? I think I missed that piece.
Well, once we decide what the task of the subcommittee is, then public members will see if they fit in there, if it's a good fit for them.
The chair of the subcommittee selects the public members.
Chair with the chair of LOCAC. So,
and the chair of the subcommittee is who, I guess.
Recommend to the chair of LOCAC certain people, and that's the procedure.
Okay, so I'm just wondering how the public weighs in on this. You got a lot of expertise out in the community, I think.
Right.
That is not usually heard. It's usually the same people doing the work all the time, and people are weighing in informally. So I'm wondering how the public weighs in on this. The expertise in the community gets heard.
All of the committees meetings are open to the public. So whether or not somebody is working directly as a committee member, they are still welcome to come to the meeting, and then they weigh in as well. So one does not necessarily have to be a member of the subcommittee to weigh in and to contribute.
So I'm new to this, so I'm really confused. I thought this was the discussion for the homeless situation.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Is it? Or?
No, it's not the forum. No, it's not. We had
You're discussing to put together a forum, a committee, a special committee for homelessness.
It's an ongoing. It's an ongoing process. Sorry.
What's happening tonight is there's a proposal to form a subcommittee that's going to develop a homeless forum with public and agency members. And so LOCAC is going to vote to approve whether or not we want to have this subcommittee on homelessness. And then from there, that subcommittee is going to start calling meetings to establish the logistics and the details of the forum. So should we just make that motion?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
so I
what
mean,
was told, so I'm sorry.
so LOCAC, if somebody wants to make a motion to form it, we have Jim as a member and Yale.
Excuse me, this is Barbara Lorenz, and I have a question for you regarding the subcommittee.
Mhm.
I believe that the subcommittee consisting of Linda and Reverend Caro and Yale is a conflict of interest. They were involved in part of the reason that we're having a problem in the community right now. So I think that's a conflict of interest. I think we should have community members, public members that form the subcommittee and work with LOCAC.
Barbara, I don't think that conflict of interest is exactly has anything to do with that. The interest of us, and it's not conflicted at all, is to not conflicted. It's all about it. Is to see how we can resolve and solve the issue of the unhoused residents, which once it's resolved the issue of the community, because then the community does not have to deal with encampment residents behind the library, which are causing fire hazard, sanitation hazard, scary environment to families.
Yale, with all due respect, Yale, I am saying that to have the same people on the subcommittee that were involved in allowing this to happen on Palisades and feeding people and everything I'm saying, you can disagree. I'm disagreeing. I believe that to have the same people that have proposed all of this in the first place without any public input from the public whatsoever should not be the subcommittee. I think you need outside people, residents that are the subcommittee.
Okay,
If I can
Tim, point of order. Point of order on this. We're not here to debate members or who's going to be on the committee. We're here to discuss forming the committee. Once the committee is formed, then we can decide who's going to be members on it and stuff. So let's not get into conflict of interest. We don't have anyone yet on any committee because we don't have a committee. Okay? So
Well, that's fine. That's fine, but that is not what Yale had said.
So, but let's just be really clear. LOCAC is not a government body. You know, can somebody explain to me? I know that LOCAC advises our supervisor. That's all appreciated. You are not an empowered body to make decisions.
Correct.
So what is the purpose of a forum when we have a very real crisis? And I'll just speak as a person with 650 members of concerned citizens in our town, Los Osos, around fire and emergency preparedness. Like I mean, I'm hearing, because this is going to take time, and I agree with trying to make a plan. We have an impacted church. We have an impacted community. These campers are traveling now up into my neighborhood and parking in front of homes. I'm very close to both our fire chief and our sheriff's office, trying to figure out what is going on. But the fire danger, as Bruce knows, is very real.
Mr. Chairman, could I take a stab at giving some context to this?
Absolutely.
The purpose of the forum is to really give context to the plan that we are developing right now to work on the unsheltered homeless problem in the community. We're moving forward with a plan. And I think one of the things that would be very useful is for the community to understand the background, the bigger background of dealing with homelessness. So first and foremost, this forum is an educational opportunity. It's also an opportunity within the limits of how it might take questions, and that might have to be on a rather structured basis, just for the time element of it. To make sure that the homeless, the folks involved in homeless services understand the specific concerns of the community. But I think really the aim of the forum is to set the community, get a basis for understanding within the community for what we're going to have to do, all of us, to deal with the issue of homelessness. And it goes well beyond the immediate plans that we are developing to relocate folks who are camping. So in the short term, if folks have specific issues about the situation right now, you're welcome to forward those issues to my office, and we will get them in the hands of the folks who are developing the plan. I think the role that you're really discussing right now is how to put together a forum that covers the topics you need to cover. And the model up in Cambria is a really good template to start with. My role in the forum is to reach out and make sure you have the resources, the knowledgeable people to give you the information that the community needs. So this forum is not about formulating the plan. That's happening. This is about education and about outreach.
Okay,
All right, thank you.
Ask a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
And it is about who is on the subcommittee. And yes, there's going to be LOCAC members, but there really I would like to see a LOCAC member that is not involved with Los Osos Care and is not involved with trying to feed and just be an advocate for the homeless people, but also people that have concerns that the real situation, there's like a wall up and people aren't hearing what really is going on there. There's safe parking in the parking lot, but that doesn't include the 29 vehicles on the street. That doesn't include the so there's some confusion, and there's also certain people that have been involved in that all along, and we really would like to see a LOCAC member that would bring a different perspective.
Lindy?
I wanted to say what I'm hearing is that we already have the discussion going. We have some amazing people that are addressing problems from so many different directions. And what I heard Bruce explain was that the county is going to go ahead and put their plan together, and then they're going to put a forum on so we can talk about it. I think we need to be united with the county as this plan goes forward. It brings out the best from both sides. And I'm so impressed with the people that are involved, you know, from the Reverend Caro to Emily to, I think that we're getting closer to understanding how to resolve some problems, but we need to be working together to get there sooner. I don't want to see this thing drag out, but I would love to see a couple of regular citizens and even maybe a group that can come listen in to discussions and start having some, you know, head-on discussions between the county planning idea and the people that are concerned and involved. So thank you. I just urge that we move forward faster a forum.
So could I make a motion that we approve a subcommittee on homelessness on the condition that there's at least 3, or that the LOCAC members, at least one of them is not part of Los Osos Cares and has not been involved with the homeless issue in the past, so that can offer an unbiased viewpoint on that issue to appease the community. And also that it's worked very closely in conjunction with the county, because what I'm hearing from Supervisor Gibson is that this is something really that the county wants to do, and we should do and bring to the community, and would like support from LOCAC in getting the word out and really getting the feedback on all sides to really not only educate and get the history, but also understand the concerns and possibly develop, support a plan that's in place. So it feels to me like it's something the county's already gonna wants to do, and we're really supporting that. So my motion is to approve a subcommittee with at least one member that has not been involved on the homeless issue in the past, but can have up to 5 subcommittee members, as well as include public members that represent multiple perspectives on the homelessness issue, that there is not just public members with one perspective, but that in order for the subcommittee to be effective, there needs to be multiple perspectives presented regarding the complexity of the homeless issue.
So I'm
We have a second?
welcome all the 2 people. I was never on Los Osos Care. My involvement with the unhoused population is less than any of the people that actually are here. I just started recently. So I would love to have a 3rd person, because Jim is on Los Osos Care. So I'm welcome to a 3rd person. However, I've never heard that a committee that needs people that care about the issue should not be involved. It's like telling me because I love trees. Wait a minute, let me finish. Okay. Just because I love trees, I should not be involved in the tree and landscaping. It's kind of ridiculous. But I would definitely be very happy to get a 3rd person from LOCAC that think that they have never been involved. I mean, I don't know how anybody cannot be involved with the unhoused people. I mean, we're living in an era where everywhere there are unhoused people. But if you feel like you have not been involved and you want to be involved in this subcommittee, please welcome.
I will second the motion from Sandra. This is Trish.
Okay, Trish, are you willing to join?
We can decide that later if we do not.
Yeah, this is just to form the committee. This is nothing to do with who's going to be on it.
Okay. I'm just worried that we're not going to have a 3rd person, and then we are having a stumbling block, and we're not going to have a subcommittee because you're putting an you're putting an additional weight to this subcommittee that none of the others have to carry. So I don't know why you are.
So I'm doing it, Yael, to make sure that the public buys into our process. It's nothing personal. It's nothing, but in order for the public and everybody to buy into our process, we want to make sure that we are presenting something in the most unbiased fashion we can. And that really includes involving multiple perspectives at the table. And I think we will be able to get a 3rd person without a problem, but at least in this way, we can make sure that, well, I've already said it, just to offer the multiple perspectives and to get complete community buy-in into the process.
All right, well, we have a motion and a second, so.
I have a question.
I can third that.
Go ahead.
I have a question about the process that we're in right now. Are we writing guidelines for a subcommittee that is that you're going to vote on right now?
No.
No.
But just putting conditions on it? Is that what's going on?
It's very unusual. I have to admit that it's unusual. We are right now writing our bylaws, and I've never seen anything like that. You know, I've never seen anything
it's a first, and it's in support.
But we're not writing the bylaws in a meeting because of pressure from public. I mean, I don't see how to please some certain individuals in the public. You're going to change the bylaws right like that on the fly. I don't think it's
I just want to also say that for people that aren't savvy about Los Osos Cares, Los Osos Cares is funded by a grant from Dignity Health. And they approve whatever it is that we work on. So, I mean, is that a bias? I'm not quite getting it.
I don't understand it either. No, I'm with you.
Yeah.
I completely don't understand.
Can I try to clarify? I'm sorry. What I'm trying to say is
Los Osos Cares.
Let me finish, please. We haven't put any, So the condition of the third committee member specific to LOCAC. I've also been on task forces where there are conditions in order to offer the multiple perspectives. If we want to put it right now, is that there's a committee member from Los Osos Cares, there's a committee member from the church, there's public members that live within 500 feet of the Midtown site. I mean, we can decide as a committee who we want to be on that committee to make sure we present the forum in the most unbiased way we can. And so it is something new because it's happened, but it's not new in the term of creating task forces. Task forces are often made up of people from multiple perspectives, and that's what's being asked for of us right now, to make sure that we have a balance.
It's not a subcommittee, it's a task force, which we never had or defined. So maybe we should go back to the drawing board and define task force for LOCAC, because we've never done that before. Because if it's a subcommittee, all we need is two people. You wanted me to just carry it by myself until a few days ago when I told you that we need two. So all of a sudden now we need three. And I mean, in land use, we did not check our opinion about land use before we volunteered to be on land use. I mean, we have different opinions about land use. We do not necessarily represent all opinions of Los Osos. Nobody ever bothered each other by who should be or should not be on land use. And land use is very complicated.
With the motion. Sorry.
Yeah, Jan, go ahead.
Bruce Brits, is Mr. Gibson still here? Can I ask him a quick question? Okay. After that.
Jan, did you have something to say? No.
Yeah, let's vote on the motion.
Yeah, we have a motion and a second on the table. So are we going to vote on this?
Do it.
Bruce, as far as LOCAC, as a council, I mean, can a council put this kind of limitation of LOCAC members for subcommittee? Who is belonging to what organization or such? And yes, you here now?
Let me see if I can simplify this and maybe you can vote on your motion. As I understand Sandra's motion, it is to form a subcommittee to plan a forum. That's a pretty simple thing. Our office is happy to work with you. LOCAC's is welcome to structure this any way they like. But what we're all working toward is to provide an educational forum to the community of Los Osos. That's all we're doing here. So I would think if you could vote on Sandra's motion, we could get that going. I'm happy to help organize and gather the resources you need to put on a successful forum.
Thank you.
So can you restate the motion, please, Sandra?
Yeah, well, my motion, Supervisor Gibson, included having a LOCAC member that has been unbiased in the homeless issue, and I don't know if that's legit. I'm trying to offer multiple.
LOCAC can structure the subcommittee any way they want. You're a community organization, and I'm not going to wade in on how you structure the subcommittee, but I think it's just good to focus on what the subcommittee is in existence to do, and that is to plan a forum. That's it. That's all I understood your interest to be at this point. We'll put that forum on, and I think that will help the community start to understand and deal with the issue of homelessness.
Yeah, okay.
I think the
my motion is
Sandra,
to form a subcommittee to put together a homelessness forum in conjunction with the county.
Period.
Yeah.
Period. Right there.
That's it.
That's enough.
But I do want to make sure that there are multiple perspectives at the table. So I would like that included in the forum, that there are multiple perspectives from multiple sides as part of the subcommittee. If that doesn't happen, then I don't then that.
How do you know if it happens or not? You don't know the perspective that people have. You can't be the judge of the perspective. No, you don't. I mean, it's very, very complicated.
So that's
Gail, with all due respect, she's making a very clear motion. And I'm just going to say on behalf of some people that are concerned with various issues along this line, I'm concerned about where unsheltered people, can get services in this county. And the forum should involve the public. And, you, frankly, and I'm going to be really direct here, have really been outspoken on Nextdoor. I don't think I've personally challenged you around this stuff, but there's a lot of people with a lot of questions that need to be answered. And, throwing out tents in the middle of dog parks and whatever, future dog parks, it's not okay. So we need to have a forum to communicate with our supervisor and our county. And there are multiple people with different backgrounds on this issue. And that's what Sandra is putting forward. Thank you.
So my motion is to approve a subcommittee for a homeless forum in conjunction with the county that provides with multiple perspectives sitting at the committee level.
Where are you sitting? And I second it. Can we vote?
Yeah. Okay, we have a motion and a second. So LOCAC members, if you could use the icon to put your hand up if you're in favor.
Is what icon?
We got, can't see how many we have. 2, 3, 4.
I have no choice.
5, 6.
Did you get Sue? I'm not
7.
Icon. So.
7.
Okay. It looks like
we'll be happy to work with you. I'm gonna bow out and wish you a pleasant evening, and we'll take care.
Thank you, Supervisor. Have a good night. Okay, so LOCAC will decide on the committee members through what means are we going to be selecting who's going to be on this committee? Do you want to just everybody send an email to me, the chair of LOCAC, and express your interest in being on the committee, and whether you're a public member or you're on LOCAC, and we can go from there. I guess selecting, it can be up to 10 members on a subcommittee.
Yeah, so I think LOCAC members should email you first, and then that subcommittee, and then we put it out to the public for.
You're trying to get a variety of people. You need to have them tell a little bit about themselves. What is their
short 1 paragraph bio on. And then we can discuss it as LOCAC members from there.
Yeah.
Can I say something real quick? I'd like to say something real quick. I've been real quiet. Before you go on, I just want to say, this is Linda. Okay, I just want to say that before we became Los Osos Cares, Reverend Caro and I put on a forum in 2017, and it was an issue on homelessness. And Bruce, you were the moderator. And we had representatives from all the different agencies in the county to talk about what they do and what we could do here in Los Osos. So that was about 3 years ago. And it was really favorable, and that's how our community dinner started, because we figured that that was a way that we could help people. Our dinners have mostly seniors, and we have some homeless and we have some families. That was a very good thing. And that happened before we became Los Osos Cares. So another thing that we did was we had invited an organization from Santa Barbara who has a very positive safe parking program. And we had another meeting with probably about 40 people. And I know, Bruce, you were there too. And
Bruce is off the meeting now.
Okay, but just to say that this is what we've been doing. So we've addressed the homeless, but we also address the people in poverty. We address seniors, we address families, we address everyone in the community. And so to be taken off to say you don't want us to be there, that's really sad for me because we've been working with the agencies. Reverend Carol's been going to all the meetings for the last 3 years, working with the different homeless people in the whole county because it is a county issue. And so,
Linda, if I can respond, I love what Los Osos Cares do, and we're not saying Los Osos Cares can't be on the committee.
that's what I was hearing though from some.
No, the concern was that too many committee members were that it was going to be weighted heavy by Los Osos.
How do you know that?
Hold on, Yael. So there in no way are we going to forbid or X out, certain groups from participating. So it was how it was weighted. So we just want to make sure there's a balance.
I just want to bring something up. I mean, the way that the reason why we are discussing this subcommittee is because I've been in touch with Blake and Bruce and with other people, and due to the alarming situation with the unhoused people, he was very excited that LOCAC can take it on, just like what happened in Cambria, and he asked me to do that, and I told him, fine, I will help with you and do that. And after that, I started reaching out to people. So I became familiar with the people that are involved with the unhoused people through my concern and through my discussion with the county. So now I am becoming one of those that is not likely to be on the committee, that I'm bringing to LOCAC because I'm interested in helping the situation. So I think that it's a bit Orwellian here, the whole idea that people that care should not do their work because they care. But
I think
people
there's
that
a
don't
misunderstanding
care maybe should be involved because they don't care. So it doesn't sound like making a lot of sense to me. We wouldn't be sitting talking about it unless I discussed it with Bruce and Blake and reached out to other people. So the reaching out was done by me in order to bring the county and the community together. And now somehow I'm becoming unfit because I care about taking care of this issue.
I hope you don't.
You're taking it the wrong way.
You're not unfit. We're not excluding anybody. We're creating a subcommittee that we can all agree that we want.
None of you even wanted to do it, and now you're taking on the function of choosing after you did not even want to do that. I had to beg some people to do it. So I don't quite understand your process, but that's just me,
Hi, it's Lindy. I just wanted to say, what's really going to be important to get anything accomplished is to have a few more Zoom meetings between all of us that are concerned. I would like all of us that are concerned to be working with the county as they go forward with any kind of plan they have. We have a lot of input. They have a lot of input. But I see spending time organizing a forum. We already have a forum, and I think you guys need to continue with it. The Catholic Church, everybody that is involved in this, these dialogues can go on another time as a pre-forum possibly, before you go out to the community and complicate it. I think all the solutions are here. Los Osos Cares, Reverend Caro, so many people. I am so impressed with the group of people that are concerned. And I'd like to see these kinds of forums get us someplace. And Yael is fabulous too. So we all have to put in the good energy to have the conversations with, a basic, where are we gonna ask them to go to? What can we provide? And how soon can we do it? And again, where, location.
And we're all needed, guys. It's not, you need all three sides
I
of
agree.
the situation. You just don't need just one side. You need all three.
Right. And I
The
want
Catholic
to
Church has been trying to stay neutral in all this, but it's gotten to the point where it's a little dangerous even for me to be right here, right now. I'm in the office right now. I can hear them fighting outside right now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my
So,
God. Yeah, so it
so
does impact you. It
it
impacts
does
the
impact us, and unfortunately, the vandalism that's happened here, it's gone beyond what we can afford.
Really? I had no
And
idea.
I'm just gonna say, I'm gonna just say, as a member of the public who works with their fire department and the sheriff's office, I got a call the other night about a certain member, actually 2 nights in a row, of LOCAC that is entering tents, which is not a good idea with Boise versus Martin. They have rights. Stop doing that. And I'm going to say further, do not interrupt a social services worker, behavioralist, an officer while they're on duty, and a probation officer, and challenge them.
That's
It's
right.
not conducive to moving our community forward and helping the people that need help.
That's right. No,
Thank
I
you.
agree. Never should we interfere with those people because they have a job to do. And even though we may think we know what's best, that should be brought to in a conversation like Linda was saying, you know, that needs to be brought out so we have more of these discussions. But I just want to acknowledge Yale I want to say, you know, if you don't feel appreciated, I'm sorry, but it's great that you address this issue. I think that Sandra's point is making sure that the committee isn't one-sided. There's not one perspective. I think she's making a good point to bring all parties together, because we do not want to start, you know, defining groups of who's with who. We want to try and solve problems. And like Linda says, I think our problems can be solved in our community with, like, you know, outside resources like Emily brings in, you know, because she's tapped into all that stuff. Or, you know, any number of people who've come from other areas, they can bring that to us. But we ultimately need to solve our own problems. So Yale, I would not be hurt because other people.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I would rather you don't talk to me right now. Just talk to the whole issue.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Not
Okay,
you and I.
I don't want to single you out, but I just want to appreciate everyone who jumps into a difficult situation. Look, homelessness has not been solved in this country. There's so many factors: drug use, willingness to, you know, work within a community. There's so many things that, you know, we can argue, but the fact that people care enough to want to try and do something is just shows how, you know, it just makes this local issue something that I think brings us together, because we want to try and solve things so that we can enjoy our life here, you know, in safety and consideration and respectful. So that I just wanted to.
Well, we're gonna decide as a group who's gonna sit on this committee. We formed the committee tonight based on LOCAC's recommendation, and so public members, give a little bio about yourself, how you think you could benefit being on this committee, and we can set up a time in October to have another Zoom forum to discuss this. But we're not going to solve these issues tonight. So,
Tim,
yeah.
could I ask you to write me something to put on the website so that people know how to contact you in case somebody hears about the meeting? I should put this up on the website. And I have one more question that I think is sort of important. Do we have any homeless people that would be on this committee? I mean, I kind of think like we're all solving their problem. We're not asking them anything.
I don't want Jim to be on the committee.
There might be some. There might be.
They're homeless, who cares?
There might be some people.
So may I make a suggestion? So that
there are a couple people who want to be on.
Before we move forward, because I'm hearing a lot of back talk about they don't want this, they don't want that. So the LOCAC subcommittee on homelessness will develop a proposal of the people they would like to see on the committee. Okay, and we put that out to the public. We would like somebody from the church. We would like 5, I'm just making stuff up right now, but it would
People
include,
said,
you know,
2 people said.
people that are affected,
Social
the
care should not
deputy,
be on
and then
it.
somebody from the county task force. And we come up with this list, the public
Well,
can give
social
feedback.
care should
And
not
we
be
need
on the committee.
to make sure we have all the perspectives. So I think we need to form the subcommittee and then develop the multiple perspectives we want to see at the table and who can fill those, and post that on the website, and then people can ask to be on the subcommittee. I think many minds will make great work. So
thank you, Sandra. I think that's an excellent way to go forward. But I do want to thank Gail for bringing this up and creating this opportunity for conversation together, because, I've come to LOCAC a few times to talk about it, but it really is such an issue for us now as a community that we have to find a way to grasp it and work with it and move forward. So thank you.
yeah, no one's going to get excluded. So thank you.
So are you going to put something together then, Sandra, for the website, or?
Well, I think Yael and we just need to talk independently.
Yeah, okay.
But whoever asked about the homeless, I think they might be able to be individual, could be even working from the homeless. I think that's a very good idea. If we find somebody that,
Lynette, I agree.
Yeah, that wraps their head around it and they have the time and the commitment, that will be great.
Okay.
You need a balance of everybody, guys.
Are there any other public comments that are on the agenda? No? Okay, I think we can adjourn this meeting then.
Yeah, and thank you for putting it on the agenda.
Yep. Okay, thanks everybody.
Yeah.
Okay,
have a good night.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Good one.
Good night.
All right.